You get charged for spending your money abroad.
For spending money in other places.
So when you have a credit card or when you're using a credit card, and specifically, preferably a travel credit card.
Yep.
Go back and listen to the episode with our travel credit card recommendations. You're going to get the best exchange rates and you're going to encounter less of those foreign transaction fees, which basically is, again, penalty fees because you're exchanging a euro to a USD, like we just talked about. So using credit card to make your purchases will help prevent some of that and or minimize some of that. But more importantly, using your credit card instead of your debit card will protect you from losing your money should any fraud occur. Because at the end of the day, it's still someone else's destination, someone else's shop, restaurant, whatever. We don't know what type of stuff they have going on.
And that's everywhere. That's even at home because they didn't try that with me here. Like, so be able to call your credit card and say, I did not tip that much.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Hey. Welcome to another episode of Travel
Fly Sexy.
I'm your co-host, Natasha Terrell, owner of Travel Goddess International.
And I'm your co-host, Sincerely Jasmine, founder of Boss Babes Love Brunch.
Period. All right, guys. Now, if you watched last week's episode, you know it ended, possibly you felt like a little shady, and maybe you felt like it was very accurate. Wherever you lie on the spectrum, this episode is going to be for our first-time travelers.
Period.
Because we recognize there's a lot of things that go into traveling.
Yes.
And part of our job is preparing travelers to have successful journeys. So we are going to go into 10 tips for first-time travelers or first-time flyers.
Flyers specifically.
Specifically, because them airplanes got a lot of things going on. So you need to be prepared.
Yes.
So stick around if you are a first-time flyer or if you know a first-time flyer or you just feel like you could up your flying game.
Period.
This is the episode for you. But before we jump into all of that, a little bit of gotta smell from our inbox to yours. What's going on in the world of travel, Jazz?
Yes, so this is good news this week. United is adding Wi-Fi.
Well done.
So we love to see it. If y'all know me, I've talked a little ish about United on a few episodes. Not the biggest fan. You know, they are not the worst, but clearly not the best if y'all don't have no Wi-Fi. So they are officially announcing Wi-Fi on their entire fleet.
Well, so let me clarify. They did have Wi-Fi. They're announcing free Wi-Fi included with your travels.
Did they though? Because them planes be old.
I will say that, yes, my United Wi-Fi was questionable every now and again when I try to connect to it. It's like, okay, now. These routers ain't routing.
Yeah. Well, they're also promising that it is top-notch Wi-Fi. So not only is it free, it's really supposed to be speedy and efficient. So looking forward to the change on a United plane soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to go into effect in 2025. They're supposed to be updating like 1,000 of their planes in the fleet.
Yep.
And apparently they are working with, I think the organization is called Spacelight. Don't quote me, but it is a subsidiary of Elon Musk's SpaceX organization. So maybe there's great technology. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm going to get into those politics, but
we'll see.
We will actually see. We will actually see if it actually happens. How about that?
Okay.
Because this is the announcement, but it's supposed to take place next year. And it's supposed to gradually be implemented into the fleet over the course of the next few years.
Exactly. So we will see. But that is the latest news of United. So
now I will say I hope that more organizations take heed because American, we could use the free Wi-Fi because your Wi-Fi is high, baby.
Yeah, American's Wi-Fi is high. Delta has the best Wi-Fi.
Yes, and Delta's is free.
It's free. It's fast. It's like, am I even in the air? Like, you can literally
because
do
it's so
everything.
perfect.
It's so good. I love Delta's Wi-Fi.
But yeah, hopefully American is the next to announce because, ciao.
Up the speed.
$20 for 2 hours. This 2-hour flight. You're doing a lot.
Everybody should go free, but that's just my opinion. It should be included in that fare.
Hopefully we shall see some more changes. But shout out to United for at least making the initiative. And we'll keep you posted in next year to see if anything changes or if they actually put this on the planes.
Exactly.
All right. You ready to talk about first-time flyers?
Yes, 10 tips for first-time flyers. Let's
Dang,
get into it.
It's been a long time since I was a first-time flyer.
Yeah, right?
long time ago.
I still kind of consider like new airports, like, oh, this is my first time here.
That's a good way to look at it.
Or, you know, new airlines.
That's a good way to look at it. That's true. Actually, yes, new airlines.
Different experience.
Yes. Yeah, I'll sidebar before we jump in because I had my Norse Atlantic Airways experience for the first time.
How was that?
Last year. And you're right. I felt so like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? What's happening? And it was in JFK. It was in a different terminal than I'm used to flying out of in JFK. It definitely was a first-time flyer. It's feeling to it. But Norse Atlantic, 100% booked the vacation.
Okay.
It was amazing. I ended up like paying the extra $25 to like be priority with them, which had a designated lane and those types of options we talked about in the previous episode. But yes, my ticket was 3-something round trip from JFK to Mykonos, right? Like, if you know anything,
I've seen good prices.
If you know anything about a flight to Mykonos, you're gonna pay about $700-800.
Yeah, at least.
And the experience was great. The staff was beautiful.
Are they a la carte?
They are a la carte, so they are kind of like
kind of like a play,
or a Spirit. Absolutely a la carte. But yeah, transatlantic, it was great. I would highly recommend booking with them. So yeah, you're right. New airlines, new experiences for sure. So I guess I did have a recent first-time flight. But nevertheless,
your girls of Travel Fly Sexy.
Before we jump into today's episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
And make sure that you're following us on Instagram and TikTok at Travel Fly Sexy.
And of course, if you have a product or service that you'd like to see featured on an upcoming episode of Travel Fly Sexy, shoot us an email at info@travelflysexy.com.
Now let's get back into the episode.
But nevertheless, let's get into these tips because I think they're good ones.
Yeah, and they're needed.
So kicking it off, first one, if you are a person who's all about your comfort and flying makes you anxious, you want to be comfortable to maybe settle this anxious feeling. So first things first, book a specific seat. Your comfort is important to keeping you at ease in this first-time flyer experience.
Exactly.
So I would not leave it to chance and end up in row 42 and the seat doesn't recline and you're stuffed between two people and it's not a great experience. So you're already like, Lord Jesus, why did I do this to myself?
That's so true.
So if you can, first time around, choose your seat. If you can, afford any upgrades to first or business class, maybe do that as well. Just again, so that first time just feels comfortable for you. And it's maybe gives you a little bit of, maybe settles you a little bit, puts you at ease, and you can kind of, move forward that way.
Yeah, because flying can cause anxiety. I mean,
it can.
Especially if you're someone who, one, doesn't like to fly, doesn't like heights, like, it can be a long flight. You're like, all right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Question though, would you prefer your first flight to be short or just get the long flight out the way so you know you get to, really?
Even as like, I guess, a quote unquote frequent flyer, I'm still like, under 3 hours, please. And I hate layovers, but I've been leaning into them more because it's just like, obviously going to certain destinations, it's a requirement. So I'm just like, okay, like enjoying that little 2-hour layover to stretch your legs.
And break up the time. So yeah, that's fair.
Okay, number 2. Now, y'all know we are the carry-on queens. We do not check bags. And I actually had this conversation with a client. Make sure your carry-on bag meets the requirements. I think it was the last flight we were just on. There was someone who had a check bag and bought it on the plane as a carry-on. And look, Ricky over there like, and like literally held us up on a delayed flight because your bag is too big to fit in the overhead.
But
honey.
You know that though.
It's like inches too big. And like, obviously it might not just be common sense to just look at a suitcase and say, okay, this is a carry-on suitcase. Like, suitcases come in different sizes. We get it for different reasons, But make sure that you're meeting those requirements because you can get kicked off a plane.
Right.
Especially if it's a full plane, if it's at capacity and your bag doesn't fit, we didn't close the bottom of the plane, everything in there. So you're going to have to, yeah. Or, often they'll accommodate you and see if they can put it in a bag somewhere or put it somewhere. But
don't cause that anxiety.
And don't cause that hold up because it literally was an extra 15 minutes for us because they're like,
where to put his bag.
Whose bag is this? Where can we put it? So then they had to find an overhead that was empty to fit the bag. Luckily, our flight wasn't full.
Yeah.
And there was space, but check the carry-on requirements.
Yes.
Or even the personal items. If you're flying like Frontier, Spirit, if you're doing a quick flight, check your personal item requirements as well to avoid those extra fees at when you're at the gate, exactly when you're getting on the plane, because there are requirements for personal items and for checked bags. So if it exceeds that, whether a domestic flight or international flight, because with certain airlines with international, I know it can be like an inch off of what it'll be domestically.
Yes. And with international, the requirements are different. So it can go the opposite way. Jasmine mentioned someone's bag being too big. But also when I was going to Dubai and I was flying with Emirates, it was to my surprise that my regular carry-on that I've literally flown around the world and back with was considered a checked item. It was considered too big for Emirates carry-on standards. Yep. It's a regular carry-on. It's not an oversized carry-on. I don't think it's a 24-inch. I think it's a 22. But with them, there's like 20 or 19 or 20. So I'm like, dang, it was the first time. So I had to check my carry-on. So that can also be something to consider depending on where your destination is or what the airline is. Please check, because now you're sitting there like, well, wait a minute. And you packed your carry-on a certain way thinking you're going to keep it with you. Now you just are like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? So please, please, please check in advance so that you're not held up at any stage of the check-in to boarding process.
Now you delayed. Now you might have possibly missed your flight because your bag is an inch too big.
Right. Listen, I was like, wow, okay. And Kyrie was like, I thought you were a travel goddess. Why you ain't know? I was like, I really didn't know.
Yeah.
But that goes back to your earlier point of like,
New airlines, new destinations.
Exactly. So I think you nailed it where, yes, I am still new and figuring it out when I'm traveling with a newer airline, because, or not a newer, but a new airline to me, or first time with them. I'm like, dang, you're right.
I didn't even know that.
I have to do these
go on the
tips.
website. Exactly. I have to go on the website and check those things where naturally you're like, oh, I know the requirements with the airlines that I fly regularly. So I know I've carried this all the time. But same thing when I flew with Play, it was like, I think 19 inches in comparison to most of our airlines. They're like 21, 24. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. So
definitely check those bag requirements.
Right. So this message is for the OG travelers too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I got caught up.
And it's special on your way out of the country. Like that is time. Now you like, oh, now I got to check this bag. Extra 40 minutes possibly to your experience. And if you like me and Tosh, we don't got that time. We just got here with enough.
We just got to the airport with 40 minutes
enough time to spare. Like,
I don't have this extra 40 minutes that you need from me.
Whole trip canceled.
Lord. Next up on the list, number 3, check your passport expiration date, please.
That's another one for the OGs.
It is. It's me.
It's me too. Very much coming up soon.
But check your passport expiration date for a multitude of reasons. But if you're traveling internationally, or when you're traveling internationally with a passport, some destinations require your passport to be valid a minimum of 6 to 9 months from your departure date. So if your passport expires in 3 months, but this destination requires it to be 6 months or 9 months, you will be denied entry into the country. Now you've done all this traveling for nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Scariest thing ever.
Could you imagine? So,
and to add to that, another little thing is, y'all know y'all know. Y'all don't know. And I will tell y'all, my passport is beat up.
Jaz's passport looked like she threw it in the lion's den and they thought it was dinner. Okay.
It's stamped up too.
It's beat up, but it's stamped up too, period.
It is beat up. And that was because of period. I was lazy. I used my passport as my ID. Don't be like me, be better than me. We talk about that every episode. But all that to say, certain countries will not let you enter with a beat up passport. So do your due diligence and know where you're going. And we talk about it every time, any country you're going to that's a new country, to do your research on what the requirements of entry are. But even as granular as that, and making sure, firstly, that you fit into that expiration date, that you're, whether it's 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year, depending on where you're going to, but also that you fit the quality check. Because I saw a young lady, there was a TikTok, a young lady landed in Bali, and my girl had to go. Because that passport was too used and abused.
Could you imagine? Especially coming from the East Coast.
So
that full day of travel just to be
sometimes
turned around.
It might just make sense to just go get a new one. Let me just go get a new one before this trip. If you're planning something, planning a big trip, and you're like, okay, I have time. I'm 8 months out. It's a little beat up. Yeah. Let me just go get this new passport before I even consider getting on a plane to go to this destination.
Yeah. And then, I mean, and the other thing before we go to the next one, also, some people receive their passports years before they
even
opt to go ahead and get their destination. Like for me, I got my passport as a 18th birthday gift. I didn't get my first stamp until I was 25. Right. So if it was a little bit longer, now I'm like, dang, I didn't even get to use it, but I got to make sure that this expiration date is valid.
Exactly.
So again, if you're a first time flyer that is first time using your passport, double check it, because you might have had it sitting on the shelf all this time and it could be about to expire, and that can certainly impact your experience.
Yeah.
What we got next up?
Next, this is for my clients. This is for my clients.
Triggered.
Review your itinerary.
Look how she looked at the camera.
Like, read it. And we know. You don't want to read. You just like, okay, this the time. This is my hotel. I will get there. Please read your itinerary. Pay attention to your layover times, to your dates, your departure dates. Yeah. We've had that. Name spelling as well, making sure that you're consistent with name spelling. I know when we ask, people are like, oh, my name is, and gives you the full name, which is great. Love that. However, I'll be like, is that how your name's on your passport?
Exactly.
Or is that just like a flex? Especially if you're married, or if you're married and you have a hyphenated name or, a conjoined last name, making sure that those things correlate with what's on your passport. And
on your documents.
They don't care. About you being married and that you conjoined it, but you ain't changed it on the passport or the credit. They don't care. So making sure that the name spelling match, that you know your layover times, that you know your airport. Sometimes it could be a different airport. Yes. So paying attention to the airport codes, just because you know that you're going into, for instance, Philly, you can be, or New York.
I was just going to say, I had this happen to a client.
Yeah, because Newark is also listed as New York.
New York, yes. And literally, so they reached out to me because they were on their way to the airport, and they were like, I'm looking up my flight, but it's not showing correctly.
The same flight.
And I'm like, well, where are you heading? JFK. I said, no, baby. Your flight is Newark. And it's this is a challenge when you're not using a travel advisor.
Yeah.
And you don't know, because obviously you should be booking your travel with us. But it's a challenge because you type in New York.
Yeah.
When we search, we type in the airport code or the city name, because we know when you type in New York into, let's say, Expedia, you're going to get JFK, New EWR and LGA. So remember that New York itself has 2 airports, and then Newark
which is just a
40 minutes away from New York, is considered New York, even though it's New Jersey.
Yep.
So that's huge on the make sure you're doing your due diligence and reading what's what.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh, New York. No, baby. New York got 3 airports.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. Luckily, they were almost 20 minutes away from the Newark exit.
Yeah, so they're like, okay,
So
I'll
they
just
could
loop
just
around.
go.
Yeah.
Yes, because child, if they would have missed the flight.
Oh, absolutely.
They would've
Even
went
like
to New York.
Houston. Like Houston's airports are on completely different sides of town.
Yes.
So do not go to HOU thinking this
It's
is where your
George
flight
Bush.
at
Yes.
and you need to be at IHA because
Yeah.
baby, you're not going to make that
Yeah,
flight.
especially
Like,
in that Houston traffic.
yeah, you're not going to make that flight.
So please read the itinerary, Lord.
Absolutely. Review the itinerary days, weeks, months before.
And again, and again, and again. Next up on the list, bring back up entertainment. And I know Jasmine is a stan of this because some airlines have limited service. It's just a reality. Delta is the exception to the rule.
Perfect. 10s across the board.
Because you could go an hour with Delta or 12 and the
you
seat
entertain,
is going to have
yes,
the TV.
With I saw they had Bad Boys on. I was like, y'all got all the new stuff.
Yes.
I'm like, this is nice.
Yes. However, like even American, like American will send you on your way 4 or 5 hours with nothing but Wi-Fi. And then they'll have the app as well where you can download or watch the movies that are in the app. But you got to make sure you do that before you depart, or connect to the Wi-Fi, and then you can utilize their in-flight entertainment that way. Yeah. Again, but maybe the Wi-Fi ain't working on the flight. Like, it's too many factors. So now you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs for 5 hours. Don't be that human, okay? Download whatever you would like to listen to or whatever you'd like to watch prior to, I won't even say prior to your departure, prior to leaving your house.
Yes, where you
Use
have Wi-Fi.
your home Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
Because
the night before.
Yes. So that way it's downloading, it's taking this time, and when you wake up and ready to go to the airport, it's completed.
There.
Yes,
exactly.
Please do that, because if you're first time flying and you feel like you're anxious or the plane goes into turbulence or whatever the case might be,
being bored is not.
You want to have something.
Yeah. I hate being bored on a plane.
Jana is like a special human because the girl literally will watch TVs and shows and everything.
Netflix series.
The whole flight. And I'm like, how do you not sleep?
I never really sleep. I'm like, because I really enjoy my in-flight entertainment. So I'm like, I downloaded this last night. Like, I'm about to watch this show. Like, I watched the trailer. I'm like, yep, I'll pick out like this movie. When I'm coming back, I'm going to watch this. Podcast too. I download my podcast. Yes. And I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this. But yeah, I've been too salty on planes before where I'm like, I didn't download the music from my Apple Music, and now I'm like, oh, I'm only stuck with like these 5 songs on repeat, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, oh, I thought I could play all my music. I thought if it was on my phone, it was on my phone. Like, and that's just not how technology works nowadays. So I just make sure that I'm not stuck listening to 5 songs on repeat ever again.
Because download it if you have an iPhone specifically, download it versus on your device,
different.
2 different things.
Yeah. Technology. Just
so you gotta make sure it's on your device.
Same thing with Netflix. Like, you can have something like saved or whatever, but it's like, yeah, whatever. Just download your entertainment.
Please.
Don't be like me.
But listen, this is why it's a first-time flyer tip, though, because you will be salty.
Yeah, that 5 songs on repeat, child.
It traumatized you.
Yeah, quick flight though, but still never again. Next up is figure out your phone plan, which I don't do. I need to do, but I always end up being fine. And if I'm not, I'm just like, whatever. But depending on the destination that you're going to, you definitely want to let your phone service provider know that you're going to be in this destination, to ensure that there is some type of plan in place that you can send text, that you can send calls. Are you going to be charged? Sometimes you might get charged for every call and text that you send, depending on the destination. So you want to kind of put some type of plan in place and pay that $15.99 before you have to pay $2 every call. So definitely reaching out to your service provider and letting them know the destination that you're going to be at, to ensure that you have connection in destination.
Yeah. And a lot of carriers will offer you what they call an international day pass, which depending on the carrier, it can be between $8 to $15 a day, but it gives you all the accesses of your phone as you would be while you're in the United States. So, or while you're in wherever your destination is, because we do have listeners from everywhere. Hey, y'all, hey. So that's also an option if you don't want to like change your plan or add an international plan to your existing carrier plan. You could opt for the international day pass, which will then be active for the time that you're out of the country. And then when you return to your country, it will go away. So to Jasmine's point, I also don't contact, but the one time I learned about this was because I failed to contact. So then I learned, and then I figured, and now I'm sharing.
Because don't be salty.
Because I was salty. It was in London, my first time to London.
Especially if it's crazy because you would just think like, oh, I'm just going to Europe. Like, it should be fine. And it's like, they don't got the same service as us.
Yeah.
Like, why would they have... They don't got T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And they might, but it might be like a complete different form or
and
whatever.
And that was also like, what was that? Like 2018. So phones or
technology has
light years. But in 2018, I landed in London and I was like, why my phone don't work?
Right. Like, where the service at?
And
no
this wasn't my first country, but for whatever reason, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I figured it out. You know, you got to turn the roaming on and all of that stuff. So then it worked, and the International Day Pass activated, and all was fine.
Yeah.
But if this was you as a first-time flyer, you probably was freaking out like me. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, why it's not working?
So do your due diligence. If you call your carrier, they're going to tell you all of this.
How
and
it
then
works,
you don't
how
have
much
to
it is, how much to
Exactly.
expect, what you can and cannot do, how many
Exactly.
texts, how many calls you should spend. I mean, you should make without it costing anything additional, et cetera, et cetera.
That's why I call them, not us.
Period.
Next up, don't exchange too much money in advance. For two reasons. One, then you're going to have to re-exchange it on the back end because you didn't spend it all, and you're probably going to lose on that re-exchanging because the conversion is going to go the opposite way, and they're going to keep some of your coins. So now you got to pay twice. That's one thing. But two, you'll find that a lot of destinations will either take cards, take Apple Pay, or digital pay where you could just scan your phone. And honestly, a lot of international destinations prefer that. Like when you're in Europe specifically, they were one of the OGs of tap to pay. So they definitely prefer that. And then obviously around the world is very much a thing. But yeah, don't exchange too much cash. You'll find that you're not necessarily using a lot of cash. You may use cash to tip. Or if you're going, depending on, again, the destination, if you're going more into the community areas of the destination, the local areas, exactly, then yes, you want to have a little bit of cash. But like, don't go to the airport and exchange $1,000.
Yeah, and I think that's people's like favorite thing to do.
And now I
in
got
a
the
new
yen.
destination, your
Now
first
I got
time
a
out the
bunch of
country,
yen.
and then now you have souvenirs because like you're not gonna have time to take it nowhere. Now everybody get $1 when you get home.
Like,
which is like literally me in my passport book. There's a bunch of just different bills. Don't know how much that is, but
I
can't
got
use
them.
this here.
Right.
So yeah,
now you got souvenirs.
Yeah, literally, it becomes souvenirs. Unless you're a person, well, no, still don't waste money. I was about to say, unless you're a person who just likes to collect a bunch of money from different places, but that's wasteful. Maybe one bill, like $1.
Yeah, one bill.
Bringing home $100 from every country is OD.
It's OD. It is. And the other thing I'll say with the exchanging is don't exchange at the airport.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you're going to pay the highest exchange rate at the airport. Yeah. So don't do it.
It's a business.
It's a business. If you decide to exchange upon arrival to the destination, go to a local bank. Ask your driver or your tour guide to take you to a local bank, or even like a local convenience store that has an ATM. Those are going to be the regular fees that everyone else would pay. Especially at like the local ATMs. But the other thing is too, exchange in their value of their currency. So what I mean is like, it'll ask you if you want USD, or let's say you want 𝗕𝗏𝗀, or you want to exchange in 𝗕𝗏𝗀. Exchange in 𝗕𝗏𝗀, because the U.S. exchange rate actually will charge you more. Literally just happened to me when I had a transaction online in in euro. And it was like, I can process this payment in euro, or I can process this payment in USD. And when I looked at the price in euro, and then I went to my conversion app, I was like, this is $25 less than the price that was listed if I just processed it in USD. So there's all little things about exchanging money abroad. But yeah, that like if
you're basically paying in euro versus like, even though you're using a USD payment.
Exactly. So you can and you should always processed in the local currency because you will save money.
That makes sense.
I know. There's so much.
I just did a conversion yesterday, and the euro is up again, and they are getting me out of here.
Yeah, they doing a lot.
Yeah, like I'm like, I just was on here yesterday. Why did they change so quick?
Because they don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care about nobody
so
but themselves.
don't exchange too much money. They'll take the USD. They'll take the card.
Yes.
The next tip actually is piggybacking off of that. And the previous one is contacting your bank. So you definitely want to contact your bank, especially because, like we're telling you, don't exchange too much money because you can use your cards. But you want to make sure you communicate that. Yeah. So I've actually been with people in destinations, and the card just wouldn't work because of it looks like fraud.
Really?
Or like, So give your bank a heads up because they're like, oh, somebody in Africa? Like, it looked like somebody trying to, like, like, I didn't know you were in Africa. You just was in North Philly yesterday.
Facts.
So, it looked weird to me. Like,
why you being weird to me?
So, they like, look, we trying to look out for you. So, now card on freeze for the whole week.
Oh, Lord.
Now in destination, only card you got. Like,
yikes.
So, definitely, and again, I've been with people where you can reach out to them, but it's nothing they can do to expedite the situation. Right. They'll understand it, and then they'll be like, okay, we can do what we can do, but that can take maybe 48, 72 hours. So definitely communicate and contact your bank and let them know where you're going. So they are aware the dates that you're traveling. So they're aware of the charges that are being made, and you don't get no issues or your car is getting locked out of the country.
Yeah. And another, like, should you forget, a great thing that I do is, like, I try to use my card in the airport. So that way it at least shows that there's a transition on the horizon.
I was just going to say that. Exactly. So
if you forget to call the bank and do all of that, like, just grab a water bottle or something in the airport so it shows an airport transaction.
Okay. So the next city makes a little bit more sense.
And then also make sure that your card that you're taking on vacation has a chip. There are still cards out there that are just the plastic. No, you want to make sure that if you're going internationally with this card, whether debit or credit, that it has the chip area. As I just mentioned, lots of places you can just tap to pay, and that is preferred method of payment. So you have to have that chip in order to do so. And there are other places that won't even accept your payment if it doesn't have the chip, because it's a security measure both ways. So make sure that the card that you're going to take with you has a chip. If it's, I don't know, if it's in the card that don't, then you might want to leave it home.
Leave that one home.
Transfer the money accordingly so that you don't have any issues when you're in destination. Which is a kind of another segue into the follow-up tip, which still also goes into the previous statement, which is, using credit cards for your purchases. Come on. As I just mentioned, you're going to get the best exchange rates and less foreign transaction fees, because all of these things are a thing. Like,
oh yeah, you get charged for spending money.
You get charged for spending your money
you get charged
abroad.
For spending money in other places.
So when you have a credit card, or when you're using a credit card, and specifically, preferably a travel credit card. Go back and listen to the episode with our travel credit card recommendations. You're going to get the best exchange rates, and you're going to encounter less of those foreign transaction fees, which basically is, again, penalty fees, because you're exchanging a euro to a USD, like we just talked about. So using credit cards to make your purchases will help prevent some of that and or minimize some of that. But more importantly, using your credit card instead of your debit card will protect you from losing your money should any fraud occur. Because at the end of the day, it's still someone else's destination, someone else's shop, restaurant, whatever. We don't know what type of stuff they have going on.
And that's everywhere. That's even at home, because they didn't try that with me here. Like, so be able to call your credit card and say, I did not tip that much.
Yes.
Like, that's actually not
that's
what I spent.
That's why I always cross out the tip section. Like, I don't leave it blank. I cross it out.
Like, I didn't tip that. Like, that's like, this is actually not what I paid. So to be able to justify those type of costs, because they're like, oh, just a tourist, whatever.
Facts.
Blank line, $100.
Right. Because, like, and not saying I don't tip. Let me clarify. I'm saying if I opt to tip in cash, I will cross out the section on the receipt, because child, they're going to drag me.
Not touch
you don't tip.
Just cross out the line every time. It's crazy.
I know how y'all
We also
be.
go to places that automatically charge.
That's very true as well. That is very true too. But yeah, definitely cross that section out or just be mindful. But again, easier to track with the credit card, or if the credit card company want to be weird about it, that's something that they have to figure out, and they will do that.
Yep.
But if it's your debit card, baby, that's your money. And it can take time to get it back
or to tell a story
on your bank.
Yeah, yeah.
So you please use a credit card. Please protect your money.
Definitely. Last on the list, but not least,
right?
Because y'all know a girl be sleep. I need a nap.
Girl, I don't know how you do it.
Schedule a recovery day. And I say that upon arrival and destination, depending on where you're going. But even if it's a quick trip, you might want to use your travel day as a recovery day. But also when you come back, because vacation can be exhausting. Like, although it can be very relaxing and nice to get away, you still have to travel.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter how relaxing and fulfilling the vacation in itself was. You still gotta get back home.
You do. And depending on where you're coming from,
it can be a long destination,
travel day.
Exactly. That could be a trip in itself.
Right.
So definitely making sure that you're giving yourself time to recover, especially if it's a long-winded trip. Even if it's a short trip, you still like, I've been on a plane for 3 hours, then I gotta get home from the airport. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. And again, keeping with the idea of first-time flyer, like, this is probably the best thing for you to do so you can decompress and understand where your opportunities were, where the positives were, like how it all works for the next time you want to do it. I know y'all probably like, well, girl, I only got a certain amount of PTO. I got to get back to work. I get that.
Work from home that day if you can.
I get that. But to Jasmine's point, maybe work from home that day or, or the last day of your vacation, make that like a chill, relaxed day. Maybe that's your spa day. You do a nice dinner and you get to sleep early, so that way you can at least balance
for that travel back.
If you can't afford the extra day off of work. But certainly try to figure out what is the best way to decompress in the situation, because child, you coming off of the high, you going straight back to work, it's gonna feel low.
Yeah, that first day back is always the worst.
Gonna hit you. I guarantee it. It's been me.
Right.
Yes.
We have all been there. I do not want to be here.
Been there. Yes. I used to come back to work on like a Saturday where I'm like, all right, no one's in the office, but at least I'm here.
Get back into the swing of things.
Because I can't. Biggest first time flyer tip.
I'm going to say to call the bank. Just simply because, like I said, I have been with people in destination, and luckily enough, we've been able to like make it work, and you can Apple Pay us, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just thinking, like, if you're on a solo trip or if you're with someone who doesn't have the capacity to do that, it can completely ruin your experience.
So true.
And there's so many potential expenses that come up on a trip. From delays that can be incurred like that. It's just like, whew, let them know.
You're right.
Because God forbid you can't spend your money. And like we all know, we hate being told what we could do with our own money. Like, I made it all the way here. Give me my money.
Give me
Just
my
give
money.
me my money. Yo, funny story. Todd did not know what that was. And we were going to do it to her, and I was like, she's not going to like that.
I'm glad they told me. They decided they'd rather
just
keep me as a friend.
Money.
But then now I know, and I was able to use it as a joke.
Look, not you using it. All right. What's your biggest first time flyer tip?
Oh, y'all can't stand me. I love it. My biggest first time flyer tip, review your itinerary. Oof. Because you're not about to stress me out. Okay, please. Like, and honestly, I think people are so used to like when they travel with me, because like this is what I do. So you asking me 18 questions, and it's like, but you have the tools for success as well.
Yes.
Read the itinerary, please. And when I say the itinerary, I mean, I really have an itinerary for you. Like, yes, your flight and your hotel, but now day 1, day 2,
what are we doing? Yeah.
I've curated it so that you literally can just review and show up. Stop asking me questions, please.
Read the itinerary.
Read it, but more importantly, if you're not traveling with me as a first-time flyer, definitely review your itinerary, because you do not want to have a hiccup that you could have controlled.
Absolutely.
That's the more important part.
Yep.
It's one thing for the airline or the hotel or the transfer, whatever, to have their issues. But if you are in control of it and you effed it up,
You messed up, that's on you.
that's on you.
Yes.
Now you calling your travel agent at 2 in the
2 in the
morning.
morning.
Bless your heart.
Child. I put it in bold.
In bold.
It's okay. We're going to get there together.
baby. But it's a part of the job, and it's what we love to do. And if you didn't know, but now you know today, Jasmine and I are both a part of Travel Goddess International, which is a full-service travel agency that can assist with bringing your first-time flying experience to life.
Period. So whether it's your first time in the skies or 10th, 100th, however many times, we're going to get you back outside.
Back outside, boys.
So visit us at travelgoddessintl.com and submit that consultation.
We got you. All right. Time for the travel deal of the week.
Yes.
Funny enough, I didn't even see where the travel deal of the week was, but I did definitely just mention this place, and that's cool. So the travel deal of the week is a 5-day, 4-night trip to London, England, the UK. Mid-February. All right, so we already in 2025 with the travels now.
Crazy.
Let's go.
Crazy.
With round-trip flights via United Airlines. Crazy.
on.
I didn't know this. I didn't know
on
this. I just this was here.
Always on the same page.
Always on the same page. United Airlines from Atlanta, ATL, and 4-star hotel accommodations at the Doubletree Docklands Riverside. This property is so beautiful, by the way. Like, it's literally on the river.
Yeah.
It's modern. It's new. It's like chic. They have rooftop. It's so cute. All of that. 5 days, 4 nights in London, mid-February, and round-trip flights with United. $990 per person, which is a whole trip to the UK for under $1,000.
And it's in February, so United might have that free Wi-Fi.
That's very true. You might get to be the first one. Look at that.
See how
would
that
you
worked
look
out?
at God.
Come
Look
on.
at that.
For $990, you got your Wi-Fi included, possibly. Don't
quote us
quote me
now.
on
We
that.
don't work for Elon and
We're
them.
just trying to make it line up.
We just try to make it work. But also, with a February departure means you probably could just do a little deposit, secure this, and then
pay it off
by
by December, January.
So yeah, it's giving what it's supposed to give. Now, I didn't write down the exact dates, but mid-February, I think this is
V-Day is giving.
falling over that V-Day, President's Day
I didn't
little
want to assume, but
overlap.
I think so.
If I know me, I know that's what it is. So if you're not familiar, next year, Valentine's Day is on a Friday, and then President's Day is on that following Monday. So what that means for lovers of travel is that you could really stack a good vacation with limited amount of PTO usage.
I've been eyeing that weekend already.
Yeah. So like you could, in this case, if you did want to do a trip to a London or just somewhere for a 5-day, 4 nights, you could, if it's a transatlantic, meaning you got to go a day to travel, you could leave Thursday night after work, arrive Friday morning on Valentine's Day. So you do maybe use that day because everyone don't celebrate it or acknowledge it as a holiday. But then you got Saturday and Sunday.
And Monday.
That's regular. And then you got President's Day on Monday, which is considered a federal holiday. So you've got a 5-day vacation and you only used 1 day of PTO.
Come on, somebody. And it's February, so it's like you're starting the year off amazing.
Right. So you don't even, you don't want to bust out your PTO,
with the PTO
at the beginning of the year. So 1 day for a 5 or 6 day vacation, baby.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great travel weekend. So even if it's not this, figure out what you're doing that weekend.
Please. And do it now.
And let us know.
Do it now.
Yes, because the prices is going to be pricing.
Because more people keep talking about this hat.
Exactly. And it's a holiday weekend. Even with it not being Valentine's Day, it's technically the first holiday of the year. Well, Martin Luther King's Day.
Martin Luther King's first.
But the second holiday of the year, that early holiday season, so people are like anxious to start doing stuff.
And that's when they start to come back outside in February, because in January, everybody's kind of like, all right, I'm sitting my behind down because December and the holiday season wiped me out, both my bank account and my energy.
That's so true.
So February is typically the time where people start to, all right, I'm going back outside. So please, 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 if you want to take advantage of this deal or just an experience over this amazing usage of 1 day of PTO.
Yes.
Definitely visit our website. You can become a member to access this deal or all of our exclusive offers. Yes. Or, of course, you can view our consultation options, submit a consultation so that we can plan your amazing little holiday weekend experience.
Yes. I'm trying to see those February vacations.
I know. We got to put more out. Yeah. It's coming. But you got to be a member. So click the link and act like you know.
Okay.
Alrighty. And with that, it's time to get brunchy.
Period. And I have to go to London for brunch.
You do.
Well, no beans, because they be eating beans.
Child, no. They got places where they don't do beans. They got
no beans for breakfast for me. But this week's brunch abroad is y'all know I'm obsessed with New York. And I also this year has really made a declaration that New York may be the brunch capital. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Which is a huge statement from you because you swore by the DMV for the longest of time.
Yes, and the DMV still kills it. Don't get me wrong. Love DC brunch. But New York this year, the options, the ambiance. It's given. So, and this is in Brooklyn. So usually I stay in NYC. This is Brooklyn. So Brooklyn 𝗡𝒄 is what it's called. Give me 𝗡𝒄. They do an everyday brunch because y'all know I'm not gonna always make it to New York on the weekend. I might have to go on a Wednesday.
that part.
So everyday brunch is where they had me. I do believe they have a bottomless option, but it's the everyday for me. Mm-hmm. And they had a bunch of different brunch cocktails, which looked amazing, which looked delicious. I think they had a Caribbean island mimosa. It is a Caribbean fusion restaurant, so they have your Caribbean dishes. I think they have oxtail and grits.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, the vibes is vibing, and I will see y'all soon.
Oh my! What? Why can't we get right in Philly
every
this?
Every day is crazy.
Give me 𝗡𝒄.
Come on. Right. Y'all got it. See y'all soon.
Dang. Jasmine always got the good brunches.
That's a good one.
That's a great one, actually.
Every day? Come on.
Let's be real. Do y'all listen for the brunch abroad or do y'all actually care about the travel tea? Because I'm here for brunch abroad.
Come on. Maybe we should make a brunch abroad list.
Like a top 10?
Or something that's tangible. If people want to instead of having listened to the episodes, it could be a download or something.
Oh, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Y'all want a solid brunch abroad PDF that you can download and stay connected
with different areas. You
might be on to something. We gonna see. Last but not least, question of the day. Mm-hmm. All right, Jazz, question of the day. What's one destination that you must visit before the end of 2024?
The end of 2024 is so near.
It's October now, babe. So
I want to think big, but you got to be real.
You need to you think it's small.
Think it's small.
Well, you need to be thinking big.
Yes. But if y'all know me, if y'all listen this year, if y'all made it thus far, Africa has been on my list this year, and it remains on my list. I've checked off a few destinations this year, places that I wanted to visit. But Africa is definitely on the list. I'm like, girl, you got to go to Africa. I have to step foot on the African land, the motherland. Come on. So I am going to somewhere in Africa at some point before the end of 2024.
You heard it here first. Hold her accountable.
Updates to come where exactly. But she's stepping foot on the motherland.
Period.
Somewhere.
You know. Yeah. Actually, where do I want to go? Because if y'all, again, to
Jasmine's
Jasmine's point,
a lot of good destinations
if you've
this
been
year.
around as well, then you also know I don't be knowing where I go. I just
with
go
the flow.
where the flight says is a good one, or if a great invitation pops into my inbox, I'm like, I guess it's where I'm going. So this year, if you remember way back earlier in the year, Jasmine spoke life into me when we were talking about our 2024 bucket list. And she was just like, I really want to be intentional about my travels this year. And I'm okay to repeat destinations, but I really would like to add new destinations to my list.
Yes.
And this year, I too felt like I really did that.
Yes, you snapped.
And I'm just so proud of myself
Great
in that
destinations,
way. Because I legit, I'll be like in Mexico every quarter.
And we did good, like not overdoing Mexico
We
this year.
only went to Mexico one time. You went to twice because you went to Cabo. But I'm talking about like 𝗬𝗰𝗁𝗁,
exactly.
Cancun.
We did good.
We only went once? That's actually, that's bad.
I mean, yeah. But like as far as what we committed to.
I know.
The intention.
I know. The intention behind it. So I'm
Yes.
really proud in that way because I did visit a lot of new destinations this year. But I will say, if possible, I'd love to get another Asia.
Okay.
I know. I'm shooting for the stars with 3 months left, but I'm like,
the Asia content is killing it this year.
I'm like, can I do it?
I hope so, because I'm obsessed with everyone's Asia content. Like, everyone is everywhere, and I'm just like, it's never been a destination I really thought about.
Yeah.
But seeing so many Black women in Tokyo and Vietnam and all of these places, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this existed.
And I'm like, I'm similar to you. I'm throwing out the whole continent because Asia is huge. Anywhere. It could be Vanuatu.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Don't know where that's at. But I'm sure
it's gorgeous. It's kind of like near the French Polynesian, but like a little bit lower. But yeah.
The world is just such
the
a
world
big
is
place.
huge, guys.
Wow.
Don't be just home sitting on the couch. Book those vacations.
Come on now.
All right. So so Asia, if I can swing it, you'll see me there. But what is a destination that you must visit before the end of the year? Drop it in the comments, provide the inspo for others, and let us know. And of course, let us book it, because duh.
Okay, because we got 3 months left, and we're not playing. We're holding y'all accountable just like y'all need to hold us accountable. She said Asia, I said Africa. Where y'all going?
Where you going? Let us know. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the episode on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, and continue to follow us on social media at 𝗕𝗏𝒂𝒗𝒆𝒍 on Instagram, TikTok. Like, comment, share, repost, all that good stuff.
Definitely appreciate the repost and the shares.
Yes.
Love y'all. And of course, if you have a product or a service that you'd like to see featured on an upcoming episode of 𝗕𝗏𝒂𝒄𝒄, shoot us an email, info@𝗕𝗏𝒂𝒄𝒄.com.
Yes, we want to see you up here. And definitely leave us reviews. In the time of our absence, we appreciate that the engagement was still there.
Yes.
Y'all still listening to going back to episodes. So it was great to see that. But definitely leave us comments and leave us reviews. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Let us know how you was feeling while we were gone for a few weeks. And if there's anything that you want, right, like let us know. Write us a love letter. And if there's any topics that you want to hear, definitely let us know. Leave us a review or send us an email.
Awesome. I think that's our episode.
Yes.
Hopefully, first-time flyers and apparently OG flyers that are flying with airlines for the first time feel better equipped after today's episode.
Period.
We'll see you next time. Bye.